jump in? You want me to have an opening statement? What do y'all want?
Fire away.
Been a neat few days for our program with the Raleigh Regional and the draft, having 7 Auburn players going to draft, including the #1 pick overall. Now the dust is settled. We're back at Auburn and excited to get back on the road and an opportunity to play the #1 team in the country for the right to play in the College World Series. So I guess it's a Sweet 16 for basketball fans to get a feel for the stage that we're at today. And we'll get one more practice today before heading out to Gainesville. Our best was required in Raleigh. Our best will be required in Gainesville. And our best is all we got to give. So we're excited about this unbelievable opportunity to represent Auburn University.
You ready to say who'll start Saturday?
Casey Mize.
Your idea of starting best on best, because it's probably going to be Mize versus Singer and Battle of Aces on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it's a no-regret time of the year. And for all the respect that we have for every team in our conference, every team we ever play, respect for the game of baseball. But this is a no-regret time of the year, and we're going to start with the #1 pick in the Major League Draft and give it our best shot.
Be Casey, Tanner, and Andrew.
Logically, and it'll just be an adjustment from day to day. But logically, that would be the way we would go, the way we've been going, for a lot of our 3-game series. So, we're just playing 1 team instead of 3 teams. So, this is a 2 out of 3 SEC series. It seems like it is. We've been to Gainesville this year. We've played an SEC series there. Some adjustments to be made because you got to win 2 to advance. You got to win 2 out of 3. But it feels like the end of the year SEC series that you're really playing for something. Just like I thought our LSU series at the end of the year, I thought we were playing for something to try to win that series. So it's another great SEC series. It's just there's a reward for this 1 week of 1 series victory.
Do you take anything away from that first series down there?
I do. We had Mize versus Singer. India, the SEC Player of the Year, hit a 2-run homer in the first, and we chased that the whole ball game for Casey's 7 innings. And that being a close 2-run ball game, and you just have to handle the baseball the best you can. We have to defend it good. That's what I mean by our best. We're playing some of our best baseball, especially offensively, putting 3 games together in the regional that way, and that's what will be required to beat the #1 team in the country. But you think 1 or 2 pitches, we feel like that 3-1 ball game's different. That's obtainable. When you have to go 1 more or make 1 more play, 1 more or 1 less, you think can change the complexion of the ball game. There's hope in that. And then we had a really good game too down there. I think teams swapped blows the last 2 days where I think we beat them 12-4. I think they beat us 12-4. May not be exact scores, but somewhat similar to that. And Tanner Burns and Cody Greenhill, I believe, went game 2. And then Mitchell, got us out to a lead. I think we were up 4-0 in the ball game on game 3. And, we didn't do as well in the bullpen that day, and they had a huge offensive day. So I think we're a different club, and I think Florida's a different club than when we played. And but again, we're excited about the opportunity, and I think we can look enough into that series and see adjustments, and I think we can see a path of success.
Is there a level of comfort knowing that you've played in that park before and these guys have a feel for how it plays and everything?
Yeah, it's not the coach. It's not the coach's experience, really. It's the player's experience, and I think you make a good point, and you're hitting right on something. I thought winning the Raleigh Regionals not because I've been in 14 regionals. It's because their players was in a regional with 8 seniors that were in Tallahassee last year. Is why I thought we were more equipped to win the Raleigh Regional because of their experience. And so, yes, we've played on that field this year. We've played a 3-game series at Florida. I was in a super at Florida, so 4th or 5th super regional, and I know in 2011 being an assistant coach and having to play at Florida for a super, that's my experience. That's not our players' experience, but they do have an experience of playing a 3-game series there this year. That they went through that. They've lined up toe-to-toe and played this great ball club. We had them in a 3-game series last year, so how much we respect. We played in the SEC tournament last year, so we have a ton of respect. It's our national champion from our same league, but I think it helps our team immensely because they've stood toe-to-toe and played them 7 ball games the last 2 years and 3 this year in Gainesville.
Was the expectations, we talked to Will and Casey, and he's like, the expectations felt different. There wasn't a dog pile after the win in Raleigh. All those things, Casey said, look, the expectations are that we're going to win, we're going to keep winning. Have you seen that different mentality from this team as the season's gone along?
Yep. I didn't know it would come. I didn't know if our leadership would round out with 17 returners and 17 new players. But as the season has went on, and I don't know what it is, I also keep beating the drum with 3 new staff members that these men have just come in and worked their hearts out and connected with our players. I was wondering if all that would come together, and I think there were times, especially starting 4-8 in the league, which is well documented, where we try to draw the line in the sand with our season, and to finish 15-15, and they're like, well, they're 500 in the league. I think that 15-15 is one of the proudest accomplishments I've seen, because I know how everybody rallied together, and to see the emergence of like Josh Anthony being most outstanding player in a regional, seeing Luke Jarvis play, seeing J.S. is probably our most consistent approach at the plate for the last month, seeing how some of our seniors have just carried us is all these leadership qualities that was waiting to come out, I'm starting to see right before my eyes, and I'm proud of this group.
Good confidence level going into this super regional, and it sounds like.
Absolutely. And, if confidence comes from skill acquisition, we've acquired something. We've acquired a championship. Like I've always said, we're trying to aim as high as we possibly can. That's what you should do if you're at Auburn. That's what anybody should do at any level that they're at, is to aim as high as they possibly can in whatever worthwhile pursuit that they're going after. So, yeah, we take a ton of confidence into Gainesville. And like I said, our best is required. It has been, it will be, and will continue to be, and no matter what our next challenge is. But, Omaha is so special. That park, that area, it is so special that, you got to go play a 3-game series. Florida knows how special it is. Being there before for, being at the old one and being at this new one and having a team there, there's nothing more. If I can do anything in my power to make that possible for these 35 Auburn baseball players to get to experience that and run out on that field, I'm going to do whatever it takes these next few days. I would love for them to experience that as their head coach. That would make that'd be a wrap to a pretty neat season. But I think both teams know how special it is, and we got to go fight each other for that right to run out there on that field at TD Ameritrade Park.
I would think the flow of the season kind of works in your favor. Great start, a little bit of trouble, and then coming back from it and rediscovering the secret to winning. Yeah, kinda. In all respect, we're on the road at NC State, and I knew their crowd was going to be so powerful. Home crowd, a great club that's been in the top 10 for most of the year, NC State. I think it'll get down to execution. Can you keep Indy in the ballpark? Can we throw the ball down in the strike zone? Can we limit innings when there's 2 outs? Don't let 4 more runs score because your ability to make 1 more pitch to get out of the inning. So we can create all this outside influence and say this is going to be big, it's going to be sunny, it's going to be hot. I think it gets down to the execution of the game. I think it'll depend on, Casey's outing. I think it depends on when Davis Daniel left Florida. He had a tough, and we had a 6-run inning that we gave up in that game 3. Since then, he's been dynamic. Once we left Gainesville, he's going to be a factor in this series. It'll come down to the execution of these 2 teams playing the game on the field, and we can create whatever narrative outside and around that. This will come down to these 2, in my heart, these 2 great teams, fighting in a 3-game series.
Coach, you touched on it on Saturday after Casey's start, but his fielding ability. Do you remember the last time you had a pitcher who field his position as effectively as Casey has? I mean, he's got nearly a full game's worth of chances this year. year?
That was huge. We just haven't seen it showcased. You know, his ability to field the ball like it did against an Army team that was a huge part of their game, and they could never get it going because of the 3 or 4 plays that he made. Especially there was one ball, there was an awareness play. There was a ball that was foul, like 5 feet, that come back fair. And a lot of times people just give up on that ball. They see it foul, and it had the opposite spin that brought it back into fair territory, and Casey was there. He was just so locked in. You know, it was raining. He was handling a wet ball. He was making fielding plays on both sides of the field, comebackers. I think that was just an icing on the cake of another skill that, like, you wasn't 100% sure he possessed, and I thought he showed out fielding his position. But I thought what it did, it recorded outs, and it didn't allow an offense that is fueled off of that to get started, because that's an unbelievable way that Army has done such a good job of creating offense off the short game, and he squelched it every time it came up, you know, and didn't open the door for them to create offense.
I mean, he's fielded the position well all year.
Absolutely.
In your experience, how rare is it to see a pitcher at this level, you know, not take that for granted?
Yeah, that's respect for the game, to want to be good in every category. He's a very well-rounded person, pitcher, defender, workout partner, leader. Casey Mize checks a ton of boxes.
Which, to Jason's point, when you go down there, is there a calmness to your team that the veil has been lifted off of Florida? You know what it looks like to blow them out and score double-digit runs, and it's not like there's this gorilla of the #1 team in the country. It seems like a lot of these guys are returning guys that experienced a sweep of Florida over there in the park, and they know what it's like this year to score double-digit runs against that ball club.
Yeah, we do believe in ourselves. We believe we could match up. We believe if you're going to make a run to or through a College World Series, you're going to have to play the biggest, baddest teams that are out there. So this is not a surprise. This is part of the road, part of the agenda. And I think both coaches, both teams, both groups are trying to get as loose and to play as well as they can. And I think both teams are probably trying to get to a point of, like, this is about us and the game we play now that we've played 60-plus ball games. And we're going to go try to play our best Auburn baseball, our brand, in our identity, and let the chips fall where they may. And I would imagine Florida's going to do the same.
Will talked about an approach difference in Raleigh, the kind of get them on, get them over, get them in kind of mentality of not just trying to bash your way to runs. Did you see more of that in Raleigh and more of a professional approach, and that led you to having so much offensive success?
Yeah, I would have to say, I think in 3 consecutive games, that's probably as many bunt attempts as I've seen. And I saw Stephen Williams hit a ground ball and get it, or go over to third with less than 2 outs. There was a lot of team baseball. I would say to Will Holland, you know, we should have been trying to do that game 1. That's what we've been talking about from game 1. But it rounded out. I thought it was a focus. I thought those guys were focused to win, and sometimes just the tenets of the ball game. I think guys walked up to the plate with, like, what's required in this at bat to help my team the most? And I kind of feel like that narrative was at play from start to finish. And when you get to that point and you're passing it down, you're connected with your whole team. When you get a group of college players that are good players, that have good skill, and they walk to that plate and say, what's the best thing I can do in this at bat to help my team and set up the guy behind me? That's a pretty good place to be.
Bet you there's something about certain guys. I mean, Josh, I mean, he got what was one pitch from being a gigantic hit in the regional last season to give y'all 2 runs single to give you a 1-run lead.
He has to go ahead and run there.
Yep. And then he goes to Raleigh and is the MVP. Is there some guys that it just takes up another level when the stakes are high like that?
I just think, and I just think our program's hung in there. We had to wait 365 days to redeem ourselves. You know, got our heart ripped out. I'm hearing from the players, you know, as they talk to you guys and talk about getting their heart ripped out, and they've waited 365 days to get back in that frame again. And there's nothing more joyous for me than to see them be redeemed or have success or wait their time. Josh Anthony's an unbelievable example. you know, Cole Lipscomb, Daniel Robert, Bo Decker, J.J. Schaefer, all those guys that graduated last year, you know, as soon as I get back and we huddle up and we celebrate, man, those are 5 of the first 6 text messages I got. They're part of that because they remember, because they were there. And I think Josh's most valuable player or whatever he was in that tournament, I think is, again, just like Casey's first overall pick was shared through all those guys, even guys that are not on the team this year that were on the team last year. Man, every one of those guys. Daniel Robert just comes to mind. That was a big deal to him for us to win in Raleigh, because this guy he's Auburn baseball through and through, and he gave everything that he had here. Winning in Raleigh was big for Daniel Robert, and that makes me feel really, really good about the culture of our program.
Which, can we ask you about some of the guys on your roster that got drafted
Yeah,
yesterday?
sure.
It's kind of a big day for them, a lot of them as they came back for their senior year and now get to experience seeing their name come across and get drafted.
Yeah, Andrew Mitchell got some priceless stuff that sometimes you just can't put money on stuff. For him to come back as a senior, you know, to win probably throw his best ball game in an Auburn uniform against Vanderbilt and then go graduate that day, to be the starter in our regional championship game, and then to get drafted, for him to believe in our program, I think it's a great example to younger players in our program, to recruits. I just think it's a good example of what can happen with development and sticking in here. Auburn's worth it. This degree's worth it. This baseball experience is worth it. And Calvin Coker's in that same boat for somebody to believe in. To this point, and all these moments aren't over with. You know, Calvin probably had a better experience on the field and pitched better for a majority of the season last year than he did this year, but he's got an Auburn degree, and he got drafted, and he's persevered, and hopefully he's got a couple of moments left to do something phenomenal for us. But I think both those guys, a smile on their face yesterday, because, you know, really you're right before practice or during practice is when all this is transpiring, is just really neat. Luke Jarvis, I believe he's the best second baseman in the Southeastern Conference, and for him to get his name called is phenomenal. Casey's is so well documented, but it was really neat yesterday to see Casey sharing excitement with all these other guys, Venter and Wright, for those guys to get an opportunity to get drafted, and by coming here and believing in Auburn that they would get that opportunity. We're happy for them, and hopefully we get a couple more here that get a chance to go out. I see that as a huge part of what I'm trying to do to support these guys, and they want to continue playing if we can continue to find some opportunities. Jay Estes, Josh Anthony are 2 that are on my heart and mind this morning, and we'll take a certain amount of my work on my part and reaching out and stuff to try to provide opportunities for as many as I possibly can.
What about Davis, 11th round?
Yeah.
You anticipate that he'll go or stay? Or?
I don't know. You know, we talk about the draft for 3 days, and my experience as a college baseball coach, the draft lasts till July 15th. You guys can say it's over and there's no impact or anything. Somebody sitting in my chair, the draft lasts till July 15th. I think my statement would be that Davis Daniel has all the leverage in the world. He's a draft-eligible sophomore, means he would be a junior next year. And he's a premium arm. He's thrown a ball recently up to 97 miles per hour. So I'm not his advisor or anything like that, but Davis Daniel has all the leverage of a great program, of coming back and getting closer to a degree, coming back still in a leverage year, being a junior. So this guy's got it made. He's in a great, great position. I think, you know, he walked away from the major league opportunity out of high school to come to Auburn, a big one. And so I support Davis. His parents have been nothing but unbelievable and supportive to Auburn and to their son. And I think they'll make a great decision. And I'll be thinking about them and helping in any way that they ask. But
he's in an unbelievable position, and we'll see what happens. But that's one that'll probably transpire and make sense a little bit more when I'm talking about July 15th. I think that one they'll wait and see how it plays out. Okay. Thank y'all.